no food, no house, no light. This small water then they bring us so dirty they pull am. This small money I they get now social transport they chop am. School low, na headache, hospital no work, I tire for life oh. My brother, waiting you they think oh. My sister, help don't come. SDP, MKO, Kingibe, action. MKO, Kingibe, SDP, progress. Abiola na the hope, SDP na the party to solve our problem and better our life oh. MKO, 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 action. Abiola, 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 progress. Now him be the hope for better tomorrow. For this life, oh, na so palava. I tire for this problem.
Thank you for being with us on the other side of the radio. Welcome to the second lap and final lap of today's edition of Citizens Forum on Rockcity 101.9. It is still Democracy Day, and
yes, we had hope 93, and we still have hope today.
Renewed hope agenda.
Renewed hope.
It is actually still on, and yeah, we're still looking at how democracy has helped, and then the whole journey from June 12, 1993 till those very moments. While we still have with us Honorable Abdul Oro here in the studio.
Okay, you can continue. With
yeah, so as I was saying, there is hope. I see a flicker of hope, but we must work to reverse the trend, to reverse the situation where we are now. We are talking about reconstruction, restructuring. Yeah, for instance, driving from Lagos to this place yesterday, I was asking myself, why can't Ogun State and Lagos State become one state? Instead of Lagos expanding to the Atlantic, or some feeding lagoons and all that to create housing, why don't we match Lagos with Ogun State? When we have vast areas of land for human settlement, for expansion, for industrialization and all that, why don't you bring up all of them together? It becomes our California. You understand what I'm saying? Because of sentiment, you think it's okay. You'll be asking yourself, where would you put the state capital? Where will you do this? Where will you do that? If you think it's desirable, all those are small problems. Okay, I will propose Ikene because it's central to both Lagos and Ogun State. But that is by the way. But I think many of the states are not functioning. If you remove federal allocation, they can't pay salaries. They can't do anything. And I also think the governors are mismanaging. It's not just the federal government alone that can, that is not, that when we talk about leadership question, it's not just at the federal level alone. State administrations have to be more effective. They should not be depending on the federal government. They should be more innovative. They should look inward. They should allow the resources available to the local government, the allocation to the local government, to be used to develop rural areas. If you develop rural areas, you tie the youth to those communities. The young people will be there to work as farmers. They will see farming as a business, poultry, horticulture, crops, everything. They will see them as a business. And then you tie them there because the land is there, infrastructures are there, you know. But because there is poverty at every level, they run to Abeokuta, to other cities, to look for a fortune, to ride bike, you know, or even to go into criminality, you know. So I think the structuring can help. We can do this through administrative measures or through constitutional measures, amendments, like what has been happening now. So I think we should think. We should put on our thinking cap and find a way to resolve our problem. Okay, now you have Amotekun as a security outfit for the Southwest. Nobody has stopped it from arresting criminals or investigating cases. You understand what I'm saying? What do we have a forum of attorney generals of those states coming together to discuss how to work together to prosecute cases, to enforce the rule of law? What of environmental issues? Can they come together to discuss environmental issues? What of agriculture? Do they have a program on agriculture where they can collaborate? So I think with this new regional commissions, we may well be going back to the regional processes gradually. You know, where if we don't work together, we will not be able to achieve anything. We're going to be dependent on the federal government. We will not see all the resources that are available to us, where we can expand, where we can develop. We will not see them, you know. So I think the structure is necessary, you know, but let us do it. Let it start from the grassroots. Let's develop the grassroots. Let's create infrastructure. Let's rebuild our schools. Let's take the next step. Put computer in every classroom. It's not so expensive. It's not with one. The cost of one Lexus. The cost of one Lexus can put computers in at least 30 schools. So the state protocol, the governor's convoy, you can have it. That one will reduce those of commissioners, members of the House, senators. The cost of governance will have to be reduced substantially, and then devoted to development, especially education, healthcare. We have health centers all over the country. Are there doctors? Do you have drugs? People are still dying of malaria, dysentery, common diseases. All this can be dealt with at those rural levels. You know, before we are not saying do everything in a single day, but at least start from that areas. Let livelihood be developed in rural areas, and then in the urban poor brought into mainstream the urban poor into the economy, getting them to be doing something, you know, that where they can put food on the table for their families, and then that will reduce crime. That will promote respect for democracy. That will deepen respect for the rule of law. And the electoral process. And I'm very particular about the electoral process, because that is the only way we can change a government that is not functioning. Even if you restructure the country, create all these accountable institutions, you will still need to elect good people to run the system.
All right.
Or remove the bad people who are not doing well from the system. So in 2027, let this be the last transition election we are going to have. That is, the 2023 election will be the last transition election we are going to have.
Last transition election?
Transition election. The next one should be election that reflects the yearnings of the people, and then we now say, yes, we have accepted election like the June 12 election, and we are no longer looking forward to sliding back to contentious elections that end up in the courts. So the people should decide. All elections should end at the ballot, not in the court. The court should not decide for us who has won an election or who hasn't. So I think we should eliminate conflicts in the electoral process by accepting election as a way of life.
Okay.
By committing access to the sources of every election.
Okay.
It is not a tragedy if you don't win, because you can win again next time. You can even try your hands something outside government, and then you find that you are living in peace. You are doing well. So let us not take election as a battleground. It should not be a matter of life and death. Let's develop that. If we can get that right, we'll be getting the issue of leadership right. And then if we can get the leadership right, all every other problems, insecurity, corruption, everything will be addressed. So I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, sir. Let us start taking calls and messages. The number to call is 081 0786 00 081 0786 00 and for messages, please send them to 09039273532. Remember, you've got just 2 minutes to maybe ask a question or just give your contribution or what we are discussing today. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
I'm Dr. Kayode Olumide from Abeokuta. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
morning. Thank you, sir. I greet Colonel Shode Pariwe now. For me, I think you've so dealt with this issue we are talking about in terms of whether we should continue to be hopeful inside this democracy we are playing today. And one thing that caught my attention, sir, is the issue of appropriate leadership. You mentioned, I've been saying this, Nigeria is suffering leadership vacuum. And up to date, we have not seen any legacy of distinguished or outstanding individual aside Awolowo. We continue to mention Awolowo because that's Papa and Zik and Tafa Balewa. They did so marvelously in their days. But what do we have? They are all the politicians of today wearing their caps, but unfortunately they are not ready to deal with corruption and insecurity that you mentioned amongst the factors of the three you mentioned. My question will be this, sir. What will be that if we ask Tinubu that is going to the National Assembly now to probably bring into bear issue of the electoral process in terms of adopting e-voting, electronic voting, will he be able to do it at all? Maybe if the Rockcity can help us to probably communicate to him before he address them there, I think it will go on well with us. You see, another thing is that don't you think that state policing for Nigeria it has become a problem that this leadership are probably having a kind of aid for,
You have about 20
whereby they
seconds
don't
more.
want to have it done at all. I even look at ITP, it's still being stayed there despite that his statutory term or year of whatever has elapsed, and Tinubu is still keeping it, just like you mentioned somebody earlier. Thank you.
Thank you too. 081. Okay, what do you want to answer right away?
Well, as I said, whether you like it or not, state police is already happening. Every state now has its own security outfit. You have Amotekun for the Southwest. Even states, they have their own. Yeah, in Edo State, we have a security corps. Edo State Security Corps is there. In the north, they even have religious police. They have them in Kano, they have them everywhere. So why don't we now legitimize them? Why don't we now create a new legal framework that should be in the constitution for establishing them formally, to formalize the process? Because whether you like it or not, they are already there. Because the federal police is not efficient, it's not efficient, it's not effective, it's not functioning well. It's riddled with corruption. And reforming it is almost like a mirage. Because institutionally, it's weak institutionally. So every federation must have a federal structure that accepts these institutions, the evolution of these institutions. We are the only federation with a centralized police system in the world. Yeah. Even if you go to South Africa, that is not a federation, they have all these regional police forces. You know, in London, go there, they all have them. That is not a federation, although a union of many states. So we cannot be an exception. We should not be afraid of new ideas. Initially, maybe there will be challenges. But if you have a good governor, he said, look, this 5,000 men and women, Ogun State Police Service, if the commander of the police is not good, you remove him. The House of Assembly will be oversighting them. They know that professionally they cannot support one political party against another, or that they cannot. There will be guidelines. There will be rule of law. They will be created by law, and then they will respect the law. They will enforce the law. Talking about e-voting, that is what I'm saying. Look at India with all its 1 billion population. Every state, we can no longer. As I said, as a journalist, I covered elections. And I have participated, I have monitored elections, and I have contested elections. I know how elections are rigged. They are not rigged when people queue up to vote. It is during counting, when people are counting vote. Even when people snatch ballot boxes, they still bring the ballots to where they are counting. They go and print them, bring them to the collation center. You understand what I'm saying? So e-voting will take care of it. Beavers, it may interest you to know that both Beavers and IREF were designed by INEC engineers, software engineers. And Ghana used the same system during their last election. It was successful. Before the election was over, the winner already has emerged. And the Bawumia, the former vice president who contested against the president incumbent, the guy who is there now, said he saw the result, they saw it. So it was not possible for him to run away from the expression of the people. He has to accept it. You know? So the result will come out. We will see it. From polling unit, every polling unit, the result of every polling unit will be transmitted straight away online.
What about the culture of politicians that want to manipulate the process?
That is what I'm saying. that if we have the rule of law, let us criminalize electoral malfeasance and electoral offences and prosecute them quickly, swiftly. Before 2 weeks after election, those people should be in jail.
People also complain about the issue of infrastructure.
Infrastructure is
infrastructure
every Nigeria has a mobile phone. Virtually, almost all Nigerians now, they have mobile phones. You have a NIN. So what are we talking about? Infrastructure. It's just to count people, 4 of us, 5 of us here, we know. Every family, even the babies that are born today, they have names. You know the number of people in that family. Why is it so difficult for us to have a national census if we are serious? Don't you know the number of houses in Abeokuta? Don't you know the number of people who live in every particular house? All this, once you know there are only voters roll. The last election, about 84 million people registered. But how come only 35% or 25% voted? What happened to the others? You know, these are the areas we need to clean up. Everybody who is registered to vote, you go there, you show your name, you show your card. I don't understand, and we should show your correct, accurate date of birth, your place of work, everything. They check your name on the roll. You thumb print. After thumb print, you go away. Then the card moves on. It's transmitted immediately to the collation center, and it will not be received in only, let's say, one polling unit, one police station or one collation center. It goes to the federal central collation, both the state and central collation centers. Within 48 hours or before 24 hours before the end of the day, let's say if we start voting at 8 a.m. before 12 in the night, results should be everywhere. They should be out. They should be available to you as a journalist because you are there, you are seeing it. They should be available to the political parties. They should be available to the security agencies. Everybody would have seen the results. So that is what India is doing it. South Africa has done it. Ghana is doing it. Other African countries are doing it. So we can do it if we really mean to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That is our road to efficient leadership.
All right. Thank you. Let's take more calls. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, sister.
Hello.
Good morning, my
Good morning.
sister.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother in the house.
Thank you very much.
God bless Colonel Shoda. My name is Honorable Enrique Ajira, calling from the People's Parliament in Jagunolema in Abeokuta here. My brother, don't ever continue to waste our time, and our saliva. When we are talking about governance, it's a thing of the mind. BBA, upbringing, decision making, and if I get the opportunity to be there, I will do good. I don't have any other thing that I want to go and do there than do good. Options are so much embedded into our system, so it's quite unfortunate. So me, I'm not blaming Tinubu. I'm only being sentimental that he's a Yoruba man, and he must be given a second chance to have his own second term. We are not enjoying most of the things that is happening, but I must confess to you, being a Yoruba man must win in 2027. Baba Buhari don't get he got second term, so he must be given. And in fairness to him, he's doing some things that are not really being open to the whole world, that, some striking things that he's doing that will have a very good aftermath effect later. But let him go and do things that will make that better for limited, masses. That will be able to be immediate, that will be very positive, have immediate positive effect on the masses. If he does that, nobody cares about any other thing. But let us continue to be determined that we must do good, we must be ready to do well for our people. Good morning, have a pleasant day. God bless you. Now, that is my name.
Thank you. God bless you
too. Somebody was telling me yesterday, I won't mention his name, that the difference between, I was saying that the Yoruba, the Southwest, they are a very strong group that is keeping Nigeria together. And I was even looking at the religious mix. Almost 50% Muslims or 50% Christians and stuff like that. And but the guy also told me that the difference between the Yorubas and other Nigerians is that a Yoruba man, even if you are his brother, if you are doing the wrong thing, he will denounce you. So this gentleman now from the People's Parliament, I don't like his mindset. If my brother is not governing well, I will not vote for him. I will not vote for him because he's my brother. But if he's governing well, of course I will support him. You know, I think that is the mindset we need to change in Nigeria. Let
Because
us
it comes from my tribe.
let us look at ourselves as individuals who are capable of reasoning and who are capable of doing the right thing or even doing the wrong thing. So if anybody is doing the wrong thing, don't support him. But if you think he's doing the right thing, there are mistakes that can be corrected and he's open to mistakes, he's amenable to mistakes. Let me even confess one thing before I proceed. I'm an APC member. We founded APC in Edo State. I was elected, I served at the Sonoris administration. You know what I'm saying? I was elected to House of Rep in 2003 and I served, we started in Edo State. I don't understand. I'm an APC member. So I want APC, I want my party to be elected at all levels. That is from grassroots to
through.
yeah. But if any party member, any candidate of our party is not performing well, we should not even nominate him. So the party, there should be democracy, internal democracy in the political parties. That is the process. The leadership. We will start solving our problems when we deal with internal democracies in the political parties that I see evolving. That is the leadership selection. You know, the process of selecting who we are going to field as candidates or electing those we feel are good enough to be fielded. But if they are not good enough, we remove them, we change them. You see the point I'm making? So that should be the mindset of everybody. So that those that we have selected or elected know that they can be removed at any time by their own party, or they can be disciplined by their party and their people through the ballot. You know what I'm saying? If you know that the candidate of the other political party is better than you, you'll be forced to do well. You'll be forced to perform well. You see the point I'm making?
Yes.
So I think our mindset should be to get the best Nigerians who can. Somebody was talking about Awolowo and Zik and all that. I personally think they were not efficient. Those leaders of the First Republic. I've done the research, it's in this book. If they were efficient during the first election in 1959, instead of fighting each other, they should have said, why don't you form a national government for 4 years? You'll be minister of this, you'll be governor, you'll be president, you'll be prime minister or premier. I don't understand. That if they were able to work together at that level to stabilize the country, to unite the people, there wouldn't have been civil war in Nigeria. The 64 election that was contentious, they probably would have said, okay, we have this. You can say that it was two parties were involved in. You know, so we have never really have good leadership, to be frank. They were tribal leaders. They had the interest of their tribe was superseded that of the nation. You understand what I'm saying? So even the problem we are still having today, they emerge from that process, from that faulty way of governance. They didn't govern. Look at India. Principled people, determined. There may be fanatics here and there. I don't understand, but they are committed to India. Yesterday, they said they want India by 2045 to be a developed country, to supersede China. They're even talking of superseding China in terms of manufacturing. They are not saying, they are not even looking at the US again. They believe both India and they believe they are determined to override the United States, to surpass the US. So India is now thinking of how to surpass, to do better than China. And China say, we do better than me. I lie, we are going to be number one. You see the point I'm making? So that is the mindset we should have now. How to make Nigeria a leader in the black, an African power, a developed country in Africa. Sorry, that's what I hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, to develop Nigeria in such a way that we reduce poverty to the barest minimum, we reduce corruption, we respect human dignity. Look at our girls are migrating, they are being trafficked. That's another form of slavery. Our youth are, our elected, our professionals, medical professionals, nurses and doctors and all, they are leaving the country in droves. You know, so Nigeria is bleeding. So we need to reverse this. And the best way to reverse this is for us to elect the best people we can, irrespective of who they are, irrespective of where they come from. I do understand. to govern at different levels, local government, state levels, national levels, in various states, not just your own state. Then we have an open society. We have institutions that function. The rule of law, the courts must work efficiently. The police, the process of investigation and prosecution must function. Those who are found culpable, the prison systems will be able to rehabilitate them, and bring them back to society to function properly, and all that. That is how democracies are built. That is how nations are built.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Receive more calls.
Let's take more calls and then we'll wrap up with messages shortly. Hello. Can you turn off your radio? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Fola Kemi.
Thank you for calling.
I salute your courage and I love your spirit, sir. Your presentation this morning further educated us on the circumstances surrounding the annulment of 1993 election. Now, that contentious electoral process you talked about, I think it's very necessary we revisit it and then fine-tune it, that Nigerians will benefit from it. So the question I want to ask you this morning, President Tinubu was one of the arrowheads, protesting against that of the maximum ruler. And some of them went to jail, some people killed, some people went to exile. The question is this: most of these people, I believe, people still living, they know what MKO Abiola was up to then. But if President Tinubu had adopted just 20% of the blueprint of MKO Abiola, do you think the country will still be in this admire, sir? Thank you. God bless you. Fola Kemi is my name.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think every
they talk about hope.
Yes, every leader should look at the situation where we are now. Where we were 20 years ago is not where we are today.
Yeah.
When we were under MK Abiola, that was like 32 years ago now. We are now in 2020.
The circumstances have changed.
Yeah, we didn't even have only few Nigerians had mobile phones then. And that Tinubu was not besieged by banditry and terrorism. In 1993, we didn't have terrorism, we didn't have banditry. The international system has changed. Things happen every day, things evolve. So I believe, looking at what you are faced with and realistically designing a solution to it, call it whatever name you want, will be the right way to go. And then getting the right people to work with you to implement the programs. Now I've just mentioned that if you reduce cost of governance, you, instead of having all the land cruisers, okay, now before you could buy, well, you're looking at the rate of the naira now.
Yeah.
A land cruiser now is almost about 400 million, a brand new one. With 400 million, with 1 million, that you could buy 400 laptops. Let's say 1 million, I'm not saying 40 million. So you could buy 400 computers for a school. So if you trim the governor's convoy and the deputy governor's convoy and the members of the house, you trim some of those excesses and then you deploy them to schools, you'll find that within 3 years, almost all the schools in your state will have computers. Because
do I have the political will to do that?
What do you mean by political? It's a question of morality. You have all the pounded yam and all the lafu on your plate and all your goofy. And then you look your shoulder, there is this child on the street begging somebody or looking at the woman frying akara, hoping that you get one akara. That is the issue. It's not a question of political will, it's a question of greed. I'm not talking of this governor of Ogun State, I'm talking of all the governors everywhere. You see the convoys. Even National Assembly speakers and even the leadership from National Assembly, they drive from National Assembly to their houses. Look at, when I was there, we got only 2 million naira to buy, on loan to buy phones. Then we now had to borrow another 2 million. I was able to buy mine for 4 million in 2003. Then I was paying 250 every quarter. That is how I was able to refund it. AC or Kocha Motors, Abuja. I still have the receipt, you know what I'm saying, and all that. So it depends on how you want to do it. You can decide to eat everything and leave nothing for your people, or do everything for your people, and then they will celebrate you for life. They will keep you there. You understand what I'm saying? And then even when they see your children, they will celebrate your children. Or if you don't do that, they will spit in your grave one day. You know, MK Abiola was not. He didn't fly in from a vacuum. He was doing things across the country for people, scholarships, donations, building mosques and churches. Every book launch. I wish he was alive when I published this book. I would have got it at this. Every book launch, everything. He was a philanthropist. People knew what they were voting for. They looked at him. They said, "This man who is promising to do this thing will do it." That is why, you know. So, and you cannot have another Abiola, but you can have somebody better than him, and you can have a system better than what we had in the past. You know,
let's be hopeful.
Yes, so I believe
Yeah.
we should work on the electoral process, and every Nigerian should be committed to it. Let's open our mind. Let's unite as a people. Let's work together to develop our country, to defeat our enemies, because they are powerful. They have external support. They also have internal support. You know.
Thank you, sir.
So we have to defeat our enemies. We have no choice.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's take some messages that we have. Odejobi Olufemi says, we cannot compare 2 years with 8 years that Buhari spent. Things will surely get better before 8 years. While Savio Awe Akinlulu said, my hearty greetings to the guests in the studio. 32 years after June 12, how is democracy in Nigeria? What are we actually celebrating? Are we truly practicing true democratic system in Nigeria? All these questions are key things to ponder on. However, it is so saddened that someone's life was sacrificed for Nigerians to enjoy true democracy. But it is so unfortunate that our so-called myopic leaders since 1993 have not delivered the true dividend of democracy to Nigerians. The common masses have been weaponized by poverty, and it is also a crime to express yourself in Nigeria, as this government have been infringing on the rights of Nigerian citizens. I hope we get it right as a nation one day. Another message reads, good morning, Rockcity. We need standard electoral system in Nigeria. If our leaders are ready for credible election, Nigerians are ready. The bad eggs cannot stop if the leadership is ready. Reverend Zachariah sent in that one. AZ from Ogun State says, good morning, presenters and the guest. Democracy in Nigeria since inception till date, through the characters and characteristics of the politicians, is a government of the politicians, by the politicians, and for the politicians, and not for the people. Reason is the president woke up one day, remove fuel subsidy without considering the implications on the ordinary citizens, and inclusively change the national anthem. The present administration had vindicated this definition under 2 years. Nothing to celebrate in this democracy of Nigeria. Theorex says, I am a year older today, but since I was born, Nigeria has not seen the light at the end of the tunnel. There is darkness virtually everywhere. Food shortage and insecurity still pervades in the land. When shall I see the beautiful and golden era in my country again? When shall we live as princes and princesses that we were from time immemorial? Theorex sent in that one. Chief Bolawon Okpaleye says, congratulations to us on another Democracy Day. In my assessment, the question is, how far are we in the absolutely necessary and extremely elements such as independent judiciary, freedom of speech, human rights, free, fair, credible and acceptable elections, etc. Our score is a weak path. With the current wave of daily high-profile defections to the ruling party, especially the massive tsunami in Delta State, we are moving towards a one-party state or extremely dominant system. God forbids or rubber stamp legislation forbidding other parties. With rigged elections, conflicting suspicious judgment, stiffening of opposition, sycophancy, impunity, corruption, profligacy, and all of that, it is clear our democracy remains in danger. Tribalism, high cost of governance, it is clear our democracy remains in danger. It is clear leadership has a key role, but I will continue to blame the followership as well. They should be more vocal and stop making unnecessary and unwarranted financial demands on the political class. Let us continue to pray for God-fearing followers if our democracy will be great again. And just a couple of messages more. Engineer Folabi from Tunde says, Happy Democracy Day to you. Dr. Kayode has given this platform a task to the president who is already at the premises of the National Assembly. I pray that you'll be able to deliver the stringent task. Electronic voting is possible. since we all are enlisted in the national identity profile. Another message reads, Baba Sobe or Baba Sokpe has always been the case now. May the will of God prevail. I wonder why people are not reaping the benefits and goodness of democracy after all these years of governance. The democratic rule has been a mirage to the citizens. The leadership should help and let people feel the goodies of democracy. It is then that this democracy will be meaningful to people. June 12 struggles should not be in vain. May God help us. Kenny Ogunde sent in this one from Obandigo. While this message reads, Good morning, happy Democracy Day. Talking about democracy, it is the best government we have had. So, the government functionaries should just make sure that they implement the necessary policies that will make the people enjoy the dividends of democracy. Also, corruption should be forced to the barest minimum. Standard of living should be prioritized, and I believe that Nigeria will bounce back to greater heights. Isaac Ayodele from Ayegbami Town sent in this message. Two more messages. Femi says, all Nigerian politicians are the same. For any good leader to rule Nigeria, there must be a good reform like what President Tinubu is currently doing. Removal of subsidy, free flow of the naira, which has led to Nigerians suffering. It is easier to come on air and say it, but when they get there, they would likely do another thing. Femi from Abekota sent in that one. While Dr. Kayode Olumide says, as we work on the electoral process, let us together support capital punishments for politicians and others who are corrupt. Democracy under Tinubu is highly regretful, but Barrister, how do you see what MKO Abiola stood for as against rulership with fist hand under Tinubu and APC party? He also says, you earlier mentioned that our democracy works, or else where? Because it has only been those in power that have continued to enjoy democracy in Nigeria, not the ordinary people. Why is Tinubu ruling with a fist hand? His oppressiveness is born by the problem of inadequacies, including lack of political will to fight corruption amongst the political leaders and even people within his cabinet. Imagine, we'll still have someone who allegedly stole 80.2 billion naira or so. That's ex-governor Yaya Bello, aka White Lion, still roaming around. And I ask why Tinubu, unlike Baba President Obasanjo, who fought people like Tafa Balogun, the ex-IGP then, in the matter of corruption, and others like that. I want to see a good leader to leap from dark to light come 2027, and by this, such a true leader can inspire me and others to go with him. I don't know if Tinubu will be able to deal decisively with the issue of corruption. This is a major problem per se as a nation. Imagine how much salary our National Assembly members would earn in millions as against those working in the ministry as civil servants and academics. Okay, just a message more and then you give your final thoughts now. Lati from Olorun Shogo says, I want our guests to justify how the fuel subsidy removal just that way. Okay, and the democracy we are enjoying because we find it difficult as citizens. So these are just the messages we can take. Can we? I didn't get this person's last question, so can you just react to the other?
Well, I think it's good that Nigerians are expressing themselves freely. That is democracy, and I'm happy that I was part of those who enacted the Freedom of Information Act, which makes access to information compulsory. When I say compulsory, it can only be refused if it's refused, you go to court, and the court is supposed to grant you access to that. And now the Supreme Court has said that it covers all over the country. The jurisdiction covers all over the country. So we let us continue to enjoy our democracy, our civic space. Let us organize. Let us march in the street if we have to. Let us protest. Let us, even historically, this Abeokuta was the witness to women like Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, who fought, he got an umpire to be deposed. You know, so we can do, now that we have mobile phones, we can even do better. You know, let's not fold our arms. Let's not lament. Let us stand up, organize, and look for the right people if we think those who are there now are not good. And also, I believe that, yeah, as I said, we shouldn't give up hope on democracy. We should support the democratic process. We should work towards free and fair election. And then we should demand accountability from our leaders at every level, not just the president. You know, it's not easy to, I mean, sometimes those who have families, you know, it's not easy to even run your family. Not talk of running a country or a nation. A nation. So we cannot give up on our country. We should continue to work for the success of our country. All the ideas that we have, let's push them forward and let's engage ourselves in conversation, you know, like other civilized nations. You know, see how well we are doing our music, our theater, our athletes internationally. The image of Nigeria is growing. Nigeria is now becoming a world. The Nigerian character is now being recognized in the whole world. In spite of our people in diaspora are doing very well. In fact, I believe we should give a vote to people in the diaspora. They should be able to vote in the process of leadership selection here in Nigeria. And independent candidates will be able to step up and say, look, I'm strong enough to be governor of Ogun State. I want to run as an independent. Or local government councillor. Or local government chairman. You know, all this should be part of they are focusing. I want to focus on electoral reform. Let's focus on that. If we can get it right, gradually, incrementally, we'll be able to deal with other problems affecting us, including hunger, including diseases, because it will lead us to good governance. I think Tinubu is taking very bold decisions, you know. And
one of our callers asks about your view on some of this reform, floating of the naira, removal of
that is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The other day, this guy called Bauer, former EFCC chairman, was saying that there was a lot of monumental fraud in petroleum subsidy. That petrol that was not imported, they said it was imported. They collected whatever his subsidy. He said that about $500 billion was stolen as a result of petroleum subsidy. So I think such figures should be investigated, and those who are responsible should be brought to account. We should not leave anything uninvestigated. Let us investigate them. You know, and anybody, those that have been named should be, all those who are responsible should be investigated. They should be arrested and prosecuted. Nobody should run away from any crime, whether major or minor, especially that touches the lives of majority of the people.
All right.
You know, so that is it. These issues are we have the laws. For instance, if when I was elected, we were meant to declare our assets and depose to them in a court of law as a form of affidavit before we were sworn in. And then immediately we finished our tenure, we were also made to declare our assets and depose to them then before we moved on. And if you are appointed to another position, you will do the same thing. All these assets that we declared can be investigated. And if you declare asset falsely, you can be prosecuted. But now but you see a reign of impunity. You see the wealth people have accumulated. They are not being investigated. I think insist that we should have a leadership that has that can follow that path. You know, that is what I'm saying. Tinubu inherited a lot of problems. We look at the militancy now. Look at in the first 6 months of his administration, it's like things were calming down. But now it looks like somebody is weaponizing the banditry, the terrorism, to fight him. I don't understand. We should be conscious of that. To make him look weak and ineffective, and not being able to solve the nation's problems.
Thank you so much, sir.
You know, so I think we should also be conscious about all the nuances, all the broad issues that affect us, and try to understand where we are and try to look at how to deal with them. But we should deal with them with a firm hand, with sincerity.
Thank you.
I thank everybody thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being our guest on the show. It's been a really wonderful time with you, sir. We appreciate you. And to everyone that called in, sent in messages, and listened quietly, we deeply appreciate you. Happy Democracy Day once again. My name is Osatwame Ikaluchima. Good morning.
Don't create problem for every solution. Let us be part of the solution to the challenges of our nation. Verify all information that comes your way. With this mindset and action, we back Nigeria of our dream. My name is Jamie Fulani. Good morning, Nigerians.
The headache, hospital, no work, I'm tired for life, oh, my brother. Wetin you dey think, oh, my sister?
One radio station stands out as the voice of the people, and that station is Rockcity FM 101.9.